So in this Microsoft Azure Fundamentals lab simulation here, we are going to secure network traffic. So let's get going. Alright, so in this walkthrough, we're going to configure a network security group. So first thing we're going to do is we are going to open up our Edge browser and log on to the portal azure.com. Get to the home page here. Next we're going to do is log in. Get through all of these pop-ups here. And then we are going to create a virtual machine. So let's go to, well, we don't really have to, but we would go to the All Services tab, but we're already here on the desktop. We just click Virtual Machines. We click Create, and then we'll go to Virtual Machines here. Alright, so we're going to use some default credentials here. We're going to keep the subscription default. Drop down menu, we're going to pick the default there. We're going to name this the Simple Win VM. We're going to pick US East, and then we're going to leave the availability zones. Not going to touch any of that. The security type, we are going to take it off this trusted launch virtual machine, so we're going to pick standard, and the image is going to be a 2019 Windows Server data center. Next we're going to input our credentials here for administrator. Alright, that's looking all good now. And last thing we're going to do is we are going to, for our public inbound ports, we're going to put none. And then we're going to kind of show like how we can control that rather than just doing it in this configuration. So we got none, that, leave the size as default, standard, yeah, everything's looking good. We're going to switch over to networking really quick. And then under NIC security, network security group, we are going to choose, let me see, we are going to choose none. And then under monitoring, we're going to disable the boot diagnostics. And that's it. At this point, we're going to review, go to the review page here, our confirmation page, then we're going to click create. And we're going to let this resource provision be created, and then we'll move on to the next step. Alright, so deployment was succeeded. We're going to go to resources now. Here in our notifications tab. And then we're going to click networking here under settings. And then we're going to review the inbound port rules. And as you notice, this network interface does not contain network security groups. So yeah. What we are going to do is fix this. We're going to customize this rather than have default settings when we create our virtual machines. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to create a network security group. So in this task, we will create a network security group and associate it with the network interface. So let's go to the 3 lines up here. We're going to click all services. From here we're going to go to the search engine and go network. Start typing network sec, which will bring us the network security groups option here under services. Then we're going to click create. On the basics tab here, we're going to use the default on the drop down. We're going to name this my NSG, which is network security group secure. And then we're going to choose US East. And then we're going to review and create. Here's our confirmation page, validation pass. Let's create. This shouldn't take too long. There we go. Now after the network security group is created, we're going to click our go to resource here. And here is our overview page. Under settings, we're going to go to network interfaces right here. And then we're going to click associate, and then we're going to select the network interface that we identified in the previous task right here, which is Simple Win VM. And we're going to click OK. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to configure an inbound security port rule to allow RDP. But before we do that, we're going to try to connect to that virtual machine through RDP first, so you can see that it's going to have an error because we haven't configured a rule for it yet. So let's go to our home page here. Now that that's done, it said it was done, right? It said save network interface, so we're good. Successfully saved network security group for the network interfaces. Good. Alright, so next let's go to virtual machines. Here's our Simple Win VM. We're going to try to connect to it right now. Let's download the RDP file. Here it is. We're going to click open. We're going to click connect. And we should get an error message. There it is. So remote desktop can't connect to the remote computer for one of these reasons. Remote access to the server is not enabled, the remote computer is turned off, or the remote computer is not available in the network. So we're getting an error here. And by default, the network security group does not allow RDP. So we are going to close this error. Now on the virtual machine blade, let's go back there. We are gonna Actually, we're going to go into here, and then what we're going to do is go to networking here, which is under the settings tab. Alright, and we can notice that the inbound rules for the My Network Security Group Secure, which is attached to the interface of My VMNIC. Network Security Groups denies all inbound traffic except traffic within the virtual network, which would be virtual machines communicating with each other, and the load balancer probes. So now we are going to click add inbound port rule here, and we're going to create this rule so we can use remote desktop protocol. So the source will stay any. Source port ranges is going to stay that star symbol. Destination any. We're going to keep services custom. Destination port ranges is going to be the port for remote desktop protocol, which is 3389. We are going to use TCP. The action is going to be allowed, and then we're going to set a priority to 300. And then if we hover over here, it says rules are processed in priority order. The lower the number, the higher the priority. So we're going to set it to 300 right now. Then we're going to change the name, and it's going to just be allow RDP. And then we're going to click add. So now it's alright, so the created security rule, successfully created security rule, allow RDP. So let's give it a minute or so. Let me refresh this page so we can kind of see it over here. You can notice that there's like a exclamation point triangle warning symbol here. If we click it and we scroll down, it'll show us that RDP port 3389 is exposed to the internet. This is only recommended for testing. For production environments, we recommend using a VPN or private connection. Okay, no worries, no worries. So let's just give it a couple seconds here, because if we jump straight into trying to connect through RDP, it's not going to work. But basically, what we did was we created the rule through our network security group that we want to use it, rather than kind of just letting everything fall within default credentials and settings when we create the VM. So we're just going to wait for the rule to be provisioned, and then we're going to try again to remote desktop protocol into the virtual machine. And let's see if it'll work now. It might have needed a few more seconds, but let's see. So we're going to download the RDP file. We can actually use the same one right here. We're going to click that one. And then we're going to click connect. There you go. It worked. So let's type in our password here. Click go. Click yes on that warning certificate. And there we have it. We're logging into our virtual machine. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to let this load up, and we're going to configure an outbound security port rule to deny internet access on the virtual machine. So let's give it a minute or so to get the desktop here, and then load up Service Manager, and then we'll close all that out. Alright, your Service Manager, we're closing it out. So let's open up Internet Explorer here. And we're going to have to work through the Internet Explorer enhanced security pop-ups, which are constantly going to keep popping up when we try to go to websites. But let's try to go to bing.com. And like I said, we're going to get all of these pop-ups. So let's close this one out. We're going to get some of these. Let's add Bing to the list here. That way it pops up correctly. There you go. Oh, one more. Or maybe a couple more. Alright, let's go to Microsoft.com. And yep, just like before, we're going to have to work through all of these security pop-ups and add them to the list. Okay, cool. You can see Microsoft.com is working. Finally, let's go to Google and add it to the trusted sites list. There we go. Now if we went back to Bing, it should just go. Yeah, there's no problem there. And if we went back to Microsoft, we should be getting no security pop-ups. Everything's all set and configured. Okay, cool. So we verified that the internet's working on Internet Explorer on our virtual machine. So now let's minimize this and let's go back to our Azure portal here, and we're going to navigate to the simple WIM VM virtual machine. So let's go back to virtual machines, simple WIM. All right, now under settings, we're going to go to the networking tab here, and now we're going to create that outbound rule. So let's highlight outbound port rules here, and then so notice that there is a rule, allow internet outbound. Allow internet outbound. This is a default rule and it can't be removed. So what we're going to do is we're going to click add outbound port rule, and then we're going to create this outbound port rule, and we're going to configure a new one with a higher priority that will deny internet traffic, and then we're going to click add when we are finished. So the source is going to stay any, source port ranges will remain a star, destination port is going to be service tag, destination service tag is going to be internet, the protocol is going to be TCP, destination port ranges is also going to remain a star, the priority is going to be 4000 because it's over 4000, and then the name is going to be deny internet. And then we are, actually, remember to make the action deny, and then we're going to deny internet. And that's it. Let's click add. So it created the security rule. That was really quick. Now we're going to give it a few seconds, just like we did before, because nothing ever works immediately. There is a bit of latency within these rules, so we just have to give it a few seconds. But basically, when we return to our virtual machine here, we're going to see that we can't go to those 3 websites that we went to before. And the whole point of this lab simulation is to show that we have control over the inbound and the outbound port rules within our virtual machine through a network security group. So let's just give it a couple more seconds here. Alright, let's see what happens. Here we are, back at our virtual machine. Let's close that up. Let's open up Internet Explorer here. And let's try to go to bing.com. This might take a few seconds. So we're gonna have to work through these security pop-ups again, but as you can see, can't reach this site. It's not working. Alright, let's try to go to google.com. Oh, actually, let's close this so we can get a brand new internet is broken page. So google.com. Just give it a few seconds. There you go. Can't reach this page. It's broken as well. And we're going to end this lab simulation by trying to go to Microsoft.com. And that's pretty much it. There you go. can't reach this page. So we tested it on 3 different pages just to show that that we're denying internet on this virtual machine. And as always, lastly, to prevent any sprawls of our cloud network here, we are going to go to all of our resources, and well, really we could just select the simple Win VM. We can keep everything else, but everything else is kind of linked to the security group, so we'll just delete it all. And we'll click delete. It's very important to maintain a clean environment and to prevent any VM sprawls and getting confused on what's important and what's just kind of there and what the hell are you paying for on the Azure portal. And that's it. We got our RDP to close down here because we're deleting it, and this is where we're going to end the live stream. So I hope you learned something. Thanks for watching.